Hi, Sam here from Roberts Geospatial. Welcome to part 2 of our study of vegetation analysis at Coorabulka Station in Queensland. So in part 1 we introduced the problem and looked at the study area. In this second part I'm going to show you how to build mosaic products, how to build collated mosaic products, and then how to take those products from the product database and combine them into a sequence. Let's create a mosaic product. A mosaic, of course, is a collection of two or more spatially adjacent scenes. And in this case, we've got the simplest possible mosaic because it's simply two scenes. And it's quite convenient in this case that the path of the satellite is coming down the screen, so it's collecting this scene, and then literally 10 or 20 seconds later it's collecting this second scene. So each time we get data from one of the Landsat 8 or Landsat 9 satellites, we'll get pretty much contemporaneous data in our northern and southern scenes. So let's sort by acquisition date. And now each mosaic that I want to make is separated in my spreadsheet by acquisition date. So I'll be making one from 0709 or the 9th of July, then the 17th of July, then the 25th of July. So we select the scenes that we want to include in our mosaic, right click, and it says create mosaic product. And I'll ask you what product database you want to put it into. So I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to hit this plus button, and this is demo Coorabulka. Hit OK. So I get this dialog. It lists the scenes that I'm going to put into my mosaic. I can remove any of these if I wish, and I can move them up and down with these buttons here. The output file name is listed in here. Let me go to the end there. It's going to be called mosaic.a.mvr. It's going into the folder for our database. You can't browse to this file name. It's fixed. All the file names in the product databases are controlled by the system, and you can't set them yourself. Now we're going to want to sort these scenes in a sensible mechanism, a sensible way. So in a mosaic, scenes get rendered using a painter's algorithm from the bottom to the top. So the scenes that get rendered first at the bottom will then be overprinted by scenes that are rendered later on the top, and that's reflected in this list. So this scene on the bottom will get rendered first, and then where the two scenes overlap, and of course adjacent scenes will overlap quite substantially, then this second scene, which is on the top, is going to overprint the first scene. So it makes sense that we want to put the cloudiest and the lowest quality data down the bottom, and we want to put our highest quality data that has the least amount of cloud, at the top. So that's how we're going to sort, and there's a button here which gives you control over that. So I can select order by cloud over the scene from most to least, or order by cloud over land from most to least. So Landsat scenes, the metadata includes information for cloud percentage over land and also over the entire scene. Not the same for Sentinel, they just use cloud over the entire scene. So we'll just go order by cloud. That's going to order those scenes appropriately, and then we'll hit OK. It will now add that scene, that mosaic, into our product database, and it will open up the product editor. We have it here. If we preview it, we see a natural color rendering of that mosaic. So let's render now into ProRaster, hit natural color with atmospheric removal, with pan sharpening, hit OK, and now we have the same thing except that we've achieved it via the product database. So let's now create multiple mosaics and turn them into a mosaic sequence. So I have my scene database open. Let's also open the product database, which my products are going to go into. Perhaps pop that over here. Scene database. You can have these things open at the same time, multiple ones open. So I've made my first mosaic. There it is. Now let's make a second mosaic. So create mosaic product, put it into demo, order by cloud. I'm not going to open the editor. I'll just untick that. And you can see that that mosaic has just popped into my product database. Let's make another one. Create a mosaic product, into demo, order by cloud, hit OK. Create a mosaic product, into demo, hit OK, order by cloud, OK. We have 4, let's just do a couple more. Create mosaic product, hit the right database, order by cloud. Last one, into that database, order by cloud, hit OK. So I'll close that scene database for a minute and we'll just look at the product database. So now we have 6 products, and you can see that they each have a date associated with them, and that's been acquired from the date that's associated with the scenes that we created those mosaics from. So in the product database, I can select those mosaics and then right click, and I get this option to create a mosaic sequence product. So hit OK. Because I'm working with this database, it puts it into that database automatically, and it opens up the product editor. So here's our mosaic sequence. So we still just have our 2 scenes, but we now have a time dimension. So we have 6 time points. So let's render that now using our natural color atmospheric removal with pan sharpening. Hit OK. I'll close that and close that. Here is our mosaic. So now if I go into the red component, I can see the time range here. So I'll choose the first time. You need to manually choose the same time for the beginning and end. And so now we're just looking at July the 9th. Now I can just hit the down button on this control while it has focus, and that will take me through the different time points. So July 9th, July 17th, July 25th, August 2nd, and you can see that we've got a lot of cloud on August the 2nd. August the 10th, again a lot of cloud. August the 18th, and I think there we're at the end. So that's our sequence. But you can see by the product editor that even though we have another dimension in our raster, we've still got one data set. And that means we'll be able to compute statistics for all of those different time points for the various things that we compute for this mosaic all in one hit. So let's go back to our sequence product and let's render it again. This time I'm going to render with masking turned on, and I'll mask by clear pixels. So that's just a quick explanation of masking. So when you apply a raster mask operation, or in this case when we're just rendering, the rendering will only draw a pixel if the raster mask is valid at that location where the pixel is to be rendered. So in other words, it doesn't matter what the value of the mask raster is, it only matters whether the raster master has valid pixels or invalid pixels. And we build these masks from the metadata that comes with the Landsat and Sentinel scenes. And we built a bunch of standard masks based on that metadata. So pixels clear only retains those pixels that are completely clear, in theory, that they have no cloud, they're not affected by any other instrument problems or anything like that. Pixels partly clear is a little bit less strict, so it won't chop out quite as many. It will include pixels that are only partially obscured or by certain types of cloud. Land clear will only display pixels that are over land and that are completely clear of cloud. Water, same deal, only displaying water, and snow, only displaying snow. So I'm going to use pixels clear, hit OK. So we'll come through here and we'll just go to the right time. So click through. The first three scenes were largely cloud free, but this fourth scene, you can see that a significant portion of the mosaic has now disappeared. It's been masked out because of cloud. On the fifth scene, most of the scene most of the mosaic has vanished. Then on that final one, we're back to cloud free and we've got all of our data. So if we were to do statistics and analysis from these mosaics, you can imagine, we'll get good data here, but when we come down to this scene, we're going to get very bad data, and in this scene we're going to get perhaps no data at all. You can see there's almost nothing left in here, and that tends to be the case when we have cloud. Quite often it's complete cloud coverage. And so we have this process called collating, which is designed to fill in the gaps where you have data that is masked out because it's cloudy or for any other reason. So in other words, if we want data at say a particular time point, we can go outwards from that time point in time and look at the data that was acquired before and after that time point, and we can use that data to fill in the gaps in the data at the time point that we're actually interested in. So that brings in data, sucks it in from the outside and brings it into the middle. At the end of the day, you've just got one data set, but it will have filled in most, if not all, of the pixels that are cloud affected by finding other pixels that are not cloud affected before and after the time point that you're interested in. So that's collating. So let's go to our scene database. Got all these things open here. Let's close this down. We'll browse our demo database here. Sort by acquisition date. So before we created a mosaic by right-clicking on these two adjacent scenes, now we'll create a collated mosaic by doing the same thing. That will go into our demo database, and we get exactly the same dialog that we saw before, almost. We have a little bit of extra information. So firstly, we need to order these scenes. And I only have two, and they're collected at the same time, so I'll just order by cloud as before. And then I have to choose a mask band in order to mask these scenes. That's not an option. When you're collating, you have to be masking, so there must be a mask band. And hit OK. I'm going to choose pixels clear, and now we have a collated mosaic. So let's just bring up the product editor again. Put that over here. And I'll just go through and make a collated mosaic in the same way that I did before. So create collated mosaic, goes into demo, order by cloud, pixels are clear. I won't open in the editor anymore. Create collated mosaic, pixels clear. Oh, I forgot to order by cloud. Oh well, too bad. Doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but I'm not going to stop just for that one. Create collated mosaic, goes into there, order by cloud, and create collated mosaic, order by cloud, hit OK. So now we have these collated mosaics in the product database. So let's select them all and right click, and now we can create a collated mosaic sequence product. Hit OK. So now we've got another sequence created from our collated mosaic. So let's just take this out of the way for the time being. Have a look at it. Again, it just looks the same. Let's render this now in standard mechanism. We won't do any masking now because masking has already been done, but we'll do pan sharpening. Come in here, have a look at each time point. So there's July, we know that that was largely cloud free, and we get to August and you can see that we've removed most of the pixels there that are cloudy. But where these two scenes overlap, if there are any pixels that are cloudy in one scene but not cloudy in the other, then we'll be retaining those. So we get a slightly different result, in this case with just two scenes, by using collation.